Hello and welcome again to Kerbal Space Program. This is Hot Jupiter here. And last time we played I taught you guys how to do a little space rendezvous and docking. And I think today we're going to plan a trip to Duna. I love Mars, and in this game I love Duna. It looks so pretty, so let's just get this thing started. Go back to our old Dompy game right here. And so I figured let's make a craft that they can get there, and a good lander that can get down to the surface and back up in space, maybe rendezvous with the craft that sent us there, and then the whole thing can go home again. So each episode kind of builds on the last one. So now that we learned how to do a little rendezvous, we can use that to help us get to Duna. So, let's see. Let's decide on the type of lander we want. Do we want one person or two persons? Two people. Let's see. Maybe just in order to save weight, we'll do the 0.66. The Mark II is just so much heavier than the Mark I. Let's take a look at it. It just looks like a tin can. Should we use it? You know, yeah, it's a long trip. They're gonna need friends, so let's use the Mark II. So we have a lot of space up here. Let's see. What can we put on the top here? Like if we just put a parachute. Actually, that could potentially work. Just put a little parachute right on top of there. Because when we're going to Duna, the atmosphere, although lighter, we can definitely take advantage of parachutes. They're not going to work as well as, say, on Kerbal, but, you know, we'll see how we go with this. Alright, so we're going to want to put some power on this baby. Let's go over here. I think, again, I'll grab 4 of these guys. Position them slightly off center, or off to the side like that. Alright, power collectors, we're going to want, let's get these 2x3s, go down to 2 symmetry. Okay, there we go. So, I figure, even though it's like a ridiculous idea to re-enter in this thing, let's do it. We're going to re-enter in this thing, so we're going to want a decoupler. We're going to want to use the big Rockomax spren decoupler now. And you know what? I just had a thought just now. If we're going to be docking with something, let's see. I'm going to rethink this. No, we're not going to do that just yet. Let's come down here and let's put some fuel on here. Let's put big old fuel tank. I'm going to want a good amount of fuel. We'll go down here. Since it's the bigger version, let's grab these bigger legs. We'll grab 4 of them. Just put them right here. I know what we'll do. We'll put radial mounted engines on the side. Like that. And of course we're going to want some SAS on this thing. Let's throw it right on the bottom there. And we'll move these down just a little bit. Maybe this down too. Just a bit. Let's grab a ladder because on Duna the gravity is heavy enough to where it would make jumping and jump jetting a little more difficult. So we are going to want that ladder. Alright. So let's go ahead and I'm going to need a docking port. Now can we throw it? Will it let us do it? Yes, but let's see. We'll make that look a little prettier maybe. Yeah, we'll do something like this. We'll throw this docking port, and I'm just going to press the D key twice to flip it around. There we go. So basically what's going to happen is, I should probably explain it as I go along here. This is going to decouple when we're in orbit over Duna, and this is going to be our lander. We're going to use this stage to get down to the surface and land, and hopefully use this thing to get back up again. Now, I installed a mod. It's called Kerbal Engineering System and Flight Engineer. I'll link the mod in the description. And so what this is, it's a little computer, and it's going to give us information on a lot of stuff. So you can place it anywhere on your ship, and it'll give you this little readout here. So let's just take a look at it real quick. It's going to tell you all this stuff. So right now in this very stage right here with these engines, it's telling us that we have 2,271 meters per second of total delta V. That means that's the total amount of thrust, of burn that we can do. And it tells you over time over here on the far right, we can basically burn for 1 minute and 34 seconds. And that's on, I have atmospheric stats checked. If you uncheck it, that's in a vacuum. But let's click atmospheric stats and let's click on Duna. And it's telling us, it gives us a little more. So when we're taking off from Duna, we're going to be able to thrust this engine for 1 minute and 42. And our thrust weight ratio is going to be 5.61. Basically, if you have a thrust weight ratio of 1 or greater, that's good. If it's less than 1, that's not so good. It means it's not going to take off. So we might actually, I think we'll get away with that much fuel. I think that'll be okay. We'll see how we go. And as we add more stages and stuff to this, these numbers are going to change. So I'm just going to leave it as compact for now. Alright, so the next thing we're going to want here is to make the stage that actually gets us to Duna. So I'm going to just alt-click this one, flip it around, so that they're kind of already mating, right? And probably grab the same adapter again, flip it around, just like that. And let's build the stage that gets us there. We're going to want probably a probe to control this one. So maybe we won't go with this one. Maybe we'll go with because I'm going to use this octo probe here, the octo probe. Maybe we'll try this. That looks a little silly, doesn't it? It doesn't quite work out. Let's see. I see what we're gonna do. We're gonna go like this. Put the probe in. What is it? Just working out, is it? Let's see. Let me. What can we do? Maybe one of these guys. It's a little better, and we'll just. Nope. Looks kind of stupid. Well, gee, I guess I didn't really think this one out too much, did I? Let's see. We'll put this here. We know that's going to work out. Let's throw on another SAS, because we're going to need it. Actually, let me think about this. Do we even need that to be controlled? We might want to. We'll see how we go. We'll just keep building. Okay, let's get, so this is going to need a fuel tank. And we're definitely going to use the atomic engine this time. Now, I tried to use it in one episode prior. We're going to attach it to the sides. So we're going to take these little girder segments here. We're just going to slap 2 of them on the sides here. Go over here to propulsion and grab this little T100. And the reason I'm going to do this, you'll see in a moment. Put that right in the middle. I'm going to attach my nuclear engines, the atomic rocket motor, to these guys here. And I'm just going to move this down just a little bit more. And then I'm going to take a fuel duct, and we are going to drain the tanks from the top one into these tanks here. So basically it's going to use the fuel from the center tank first, And then it's going to work on these outer ones. I don't even think we'll get that far, but you know me, I like to over budget. And let's just structurally make sure this thing is sound. We'll just kind of strut it up to the bottom of the engine there, just make sure everything's stable. Also, we're gonna definitely want to strut this thing. Let's see if it'll let us do it. Yes. This is a biggie. You're gonna want to strut this because, like I said, these docking ports are kind of flexible and they'll be bending the whole way to Duna. We don't want that to happen, so we'll do it like that. You know what I might do also? I might just throw on a couple more parachutes. Where are we? Where are we? Here we are, the radial parachutes. I'm gonna throw 2 more chutes on, just like this, just because I mean, I want Duna to be able to. I want these parachutes to definitely be able to break us, to cause us to slow down. So we'll have 3 sets of parachutes basically. All right, let's see, what else do we need on this thing? We'll probably want to put some RCS fuel on it, and let's see, we'll use. Where are they? Here they are. These kind of cylindrical ones. We'll pop these up here like that. Let's get our thrusters to 4. Put a set of 4 down here. Just barely fits. And maybe... No, that's gonna look stupid. So we'll just keep it. You know, it's okay. We'll have a set of thrusters. Maybe we'll put a couple up here. Let's see. We'll take this off. There we are, and we'll put this back on. Maybe more on the side. Or we can put it up in the front here. That works. That'll work out. All right. So once we're up there, this is gonna take us all the way. You know, I should probably at least put some thrusters on this thing too, and RCS for that matter. Let me think about it. Let's see. I still kind of want to put a probe on here. What if we did? Let's see, would that be too unstable? We can use one of these flatter ones here. Looks kind of silly, but I think that'll work. I think that's gonna be just fine. I know there's probably a million better ways to do this, but I'm just drawing a blank right now. So, all right, let's make sure that this stage has power also. So let's throw a couple batteries on here, and we'll also throw some solar panels on this one. We'll take the 1x6s. Put all 4 right there. Let's name this thing Duna Explorer Mark 1. Might just throw some struts up here too. Let's see, I'm gonna move these thrusters away for a second. There we are. See if I can put them back on. Okay, it lets us do it. Good. Alright. Oh, but then look what happened here. Okay, this didn't like it. Let's go back and do it again. There we are. Okay. So this is going to be the thing that gets us to Duna. So we're going to want to now grab a decoupler, stick it on there. We'll work on the ascent stage. Now, if you're doing career mode and you don't quite have these orange tanks yet, you could always stack up a bunch of these gray ones. I like the orange ones. We'll go with the orange guys here. She's tall. Let's see. Let's do something like this. And we're going to use the mainsail. Rocco Max mainsail. The only thing I'm worried about is sometimes these two pieces become a little unstable, and I wonder if it'll let me strut it across. Let's just see. Now, you can't really see it, but it looks like it went from here all the way through, so maybe we're okay. We're just gonna hope that that worked. Alright, now we're gonna want to put on a couple of these side panels, these decouplers, radial decouplers. Grab 2 more oranges, like that. Alt-click. So we got a set of 3. Maybe we'll move it up just a touch. Let's see, can we move the whole tank up? Come on. There we are, it's a little better. Alright, we're going to want to connect this in asparagus style, sort of asparagus. We're going to grab the fuel duct and we're going to go from outside here into the middle. Also, we're going to grab struts. Don't forget those. Strut up here and strut down here. For stability. Alright. I think, you know what, yeah, we'll do it. We'll just keep going out. We'll grab another set of 2. Pop another set on here, and we're gonna grab the boosters. The giant Rocco Max boosters here. Good. Grab the nose cones. Strut these to the base. Okay, and a set of launch clamps. So let's look at our staging. We're going to want the boosters to go with the clamps, and we're going to want all the engines to go also. We're going to want the boosters to fall away first, and then the next thing that happens is these big tanks, which we're again going to use Sepatron engines, little Sepatron motors. Just going to find the center of mass of the tank, which is right about in the middle. Point it in towards the ship. Alt-click. Flip it around. Maybe a little lower. A little too low. Alright, right there is good. And again, we're going to want to make sure that these fire with these decouplers. So let's just grab them and move them up. Grab them, move them up. Save it again. Alright. Now this probably isn't enough. We're going to want to probably add 1 more set of the tanks. Let's put it right in the middle here. Let's make sure it's lined up correctly. No, come on, don't do this to me. This game likes to bother me. Maybe it's right here. Yep, that was it. And of course we're going to want to take these ducts, because we don't want these going right in the middle, right? We want to make these going into the original set of tanks for a true asparagus style. And we're going to want these to detach first, after the boosters. So we're going to take these and move them down. Take the Sepatron engines. Move them down. These things like to play games. Alright. There we have it. So let's just be extra strutty and strut again. We're going to strut right from here right to here. I'm going to come down here. We're going to strut right from here right over to here. I have to do it again on this side. From here to here. And from here to here. That'll do that. And essentially this is it. Let's do one more thing. Let's just make sure that this is pretty solid to that. We'll just attach them like that. And we'll go from here down to here, because sometimes when you're all done with these radial tanks, there's a lot of wobble. And so by doing this, we're going to essentially try to limit or eliminate that wobble. Oops, that didn't really work out. There we are. This thing is strutted all to hell. Alright, let's do some action groups. Custom 1 will do the lander. Custom 2 will do this stage. Alright. Crew, who's gonna go? Now, Jeb and Bill are in orbit still in those rendezvous missions, so let's pick a new crew. We'll get rid of Bob. We have Enlin, who is a bit stupid. Let's get someone with some courage. So someone who's got a good bit of courage and half stupidity, and then we have someone who's about the opposite. Not so much courage, but kind of stupid. So I think they'll make a good team. I think that'll be good. So you can see, if you take a look at our little thing here now, it's telling us that in the vacuum we have about 7,600 meters per second total delta V. Now this should be enough to get us to Duna, to get us to land, and to get us back home again. Should being the key word. I think it's going to be just fine. So let's launch this thing. Alright, here we are on the launch pad, and this thing is wobbly. I don't know about it. We're gonna see. Here's one important thing. I'm just gonna start time accelerating a little bit. Now let's press the M key, and let's zoom out so we can see the orbits here. Now there's Duna up ahead there, and there's us over here. Now if we think of everything in terms of angles, like a protractor. Let's say Kerbin's over here, Kerbin to the sun, that's about straight, and then the sun straight up and down. So you can see that Duna is in an obtuse type of angle. We can actually check it out using Flight Engineer. If you guys have this mod, it's pretty awesome. You hit the RDV key, stands for rendezvous, you hit celestial body, and you can pick, let's see, so Duna. And it's going to tell you what your phase angle is. Now the phase angle, again, is like a protractor. Think of it like a protractor. If you actually had a big protractor, you could put it on the screen and see that Duna is at a 124 degree angle from Kerbin. That's where we're starting. Now if you look, there's a couple websites you can look at that'll actually tell you which exact phase angle Duna needs to be at in order for you to have a successful launch, and I believe it's 44 degrees to get to Duna. So what you want to do while you're on the ground, you can time warp. We're going to time accelerate all the way up to 100,000 times, And if you look, everything's moving around now in a meaningful way. We can see that the phase angle of Duna is dropping now. It's coming closer to 44 right now. If you didn't have this program, there's a way to eyeball it, and I'll tell you that once we get lined up. You always want to kind of keep Kerbal at the 3 o'clock, and you're going to want Duna just a little bit ahead of you. So we're still too far. It's still too far ahead. We're going to want Duna to be just ahead of us. Getting down close. 48, 47, 46, 45, 44. Okay, so gotta stop it right there. So according to that little online calculator, Duna has to be at this kind of relationship. So if we have Kerbal at 3 o'clock, and we just kind of zoom over so it's everything straight ahead, Duna is just to the right of us. And if we do everything correctly, if we burn correctly, we can make a rendezvous with Duna. And this is the most efficient way to do it. So let's go back out using the M key back to our launch pad. Now a lot of time has passed. We've pretty much gone like 3 or 4 months. So let's get rid of that. We know it's at 44. Some other neat things about this program, this little flight engineer, you can hit orbit, and this will show you your orbital information, your apoapsis height. Right now it's 81 because that's how tall our ship is. Periapsis height, time to apoapsis, stuff like the inclination, orbital period, longitude, semi-major axis. That stuff towards the bottom is a little more confusing. I just like to look at it for apoapsis height. And you can also click on many other things. Surface tells you surface readings, how far above sea level you are, all kinds of things. If you press vessel, it'll show you how much delta V you have, what your thrust is. So when I launch, I like to put it on vessel and orbit. So let's see if we can get this thing into orbit here. We'll throttle all the way up, press the SAS, and here we go. Good, nothing broke. Alright. We're accelerating pretty much, so I'm gonna just throttle down to 2/3 thrust, just to save on that fuel. We'll let the solid fuel boosters push us. That's basically what their job is, to save on liquid fuel. So sometimes this will happen. This outer tank here is going to run out before the solid fuel runs out. In that case, don't stage. You're going to want to wait. See, we're dead with that fuel, but we're still burning with the solid fuel. But we're going to wait. Because if we hit the space key now, the solid fuel boosters are going to go flying up, still burning, and probably smash right into us, and it's not going to be good. Alright, now we're going to stage the solid fuel once they're out. There they go. And again, now we can also stage that first stage that has run out. So there we go. Almost at 10. So if you look over here at Vessel Display, it's showing us that this stage has about 43 seconds of thrust left in it, which is kind of cool. It's kind of neat to know just how long that's going to continue burning for. So here we are making our gravity turn. And again, I'm just going to press the E key to rotate the ship around. Again, I probably should have put fins on this thing, but oh well. Because this makes more sense to me if it's pointed this way. Continue to thrust over. Now one of the cool things about Kerbal Flight, this thing is in Orbital Display, we can see the apoapsis height. We don't have to press the M key. We can if we want to, just to see how our ascent angle's going, but we don't have to constantly check the map because we can see that it's at apoapsis height is at 30 kilometers now. And it looks like we're almost out of fuel in these outer stages. So coming up on that. Sepatrons go. And there we have it. Just continuing to boost into orbit. Just gonna keep turning over here. Pick up that lateral velocity that we need. And it looks like those struts that are invisible actually did something, because if we didn't strut the orange to this gray, this gray tank would be wobbling around like crazy and scaring the crap out of me. So there we go, we're getting up there, 60. Just gotta keep turning the ship. Almost to completely on the 90. So we can continue firing this engine here for another 40 seconds roughly. We have 1,000 meters per second left in this tank, in these two tanks here. Now we're turning right to the 90, because we're at about 90 kilometers here. '97, '98, '99, stop. I always like to stop it at 100. Low Kerbal orbit. Let's pop our maneuver node at apoapsis. And we're just going to make that circular. Or as close as circular as possible. Turn the ship to the maneuver node. Burn's going to take 18 seconds, and we have 22 seconds left in the engine in this particular stage. So we're going to actually be able to use a little bit of thrust from this mainsail engine here to push us to Duna. Not a lot of it, but just some of it. And, you know, I always think that, you know, the more fuel you have left over after your orbital injection burn, the better. So you could just keep using that ascent stage to boost you to wherever you have to go. So we'll burn it about 10 seconds. Maybe 9 seconds. Almost there. There we go. Completing our injection burn. Almost. Let's just see what we got. Just a little further. And there we are. Okay. So we have about 181 meters per second left in this tank. Nothing left in the orange. And just 200 left in the little gray add-on tank there. That's fine, because... And again, the reason we chose these atomic engines is because the specific impulse is 800, which means it's very fuel efficient. It's going to barely use this fuel, which is perfect for interplanetary vessels, because you don't want to burn up all that fuel getting to your place, because remember, this has to get us there and it has to take us back home again. So before we forget, let's just deploy some panels. We'll put 1 and 2 out. Oh, look, they clipped right through that bar, but it's okay. I guess it's going to be alright. Maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, I guess that's alright. It doesn't mind. Alright, so we're just about out of time. I think we'll cut this episode to a close. Now, what we're going to do next time is learn just exactly where and when and how much to thrust, so that we can just get perfectly matched up with Duna. And the reason we made these adjustments on the ground is because, let's say you didn't line up Duna on the ground, you wanted to do it here in space. So you're going to come through, you're going to time warp. Oops, you can only go 50. And that would take forever, because it's barely moving at 50. That's why we made those adjustments on the ground. Now, Do you have to do it this way? No, but it's the most efficient. Here's what you could do. Burn to escape Kerbin, get into a solar orbit, and then just wait, and once you're in a solar orbit, time accelerate till Duna matches up. And there's another reason we don't do that, and I'll explain that next time. It's called the Oberth effect, and I'll talk about that in the next episode when we go to Duna. See you then.